We're going to have the discussions tomorrow, and actually decisions will be made further on the summit that we have in the end of October. What we have to understand, what we support is that we are not putting the security of supply under question, because we have a competition for the gas overall in world, so that the gas, the LNG doesn't go to any other region because there's a price cap here. But saying that, we all understand that these prices are very high and they are paid by the consumers that can't really afford.
Is OPEC siding with Russia after the huge cut that was announced yesterday?
Well, that's a big question, how they see this. But I would look to the future, what the G7 is deciding on the oil price gap, what they have been discussing. So I'm also interested to hear from the G7 countries how they see this.
Can I ask you about the German package of 200 billion euros? Some say there's a risk of fragmentation of the single market. Do you agree with that? Coordinating mechanism?
The problem is right now that every country is doing their separate package, which means that a huge amount of money go out of our budgets and is making us all weaker because we are not using the money for anything else. So we have to tackle this problem structurally, because otherwise the countries that have more money can just put more money in, which is detrimental to the internal market.
There's been an 8th package of sanctions just agreed. Does it go far enough, so say it's too diluted? What kind of sanctions do you expect on Russia now?
First of all, I'm very positive that we got this 8th package together, and we still, are keeping the unity. So far, this has been always the question whether now the unity is cracking. It's not cracking, and of course there are less and less tools that we have in our toolbox, but we have to put the political pressure on Russia. We have to put the pressure on all the sides, economical pressure as well, so that they would stop the war.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think in these turbulent times where we are in the most dangerous security situation that we have been for years, it is very important that we gather and actually exchange views, that we have to send a very strong message to Russia that this aggression can't pay off.
And with the Ukrainian forces advancing fast with their counter-offensive, there are fears, growing fears, that Vladimir Putin could use tactical nuclear weapons. Are you concerned?
Putin has been threatening with the nuclear weapons from the beginning, but we have to see this as it is, a threat. If we can give in, then we say that these threats actually work, so that they will use this again and again to get something that wasn't theirs in the beginning. So this is very dangerous. That's why we have to be very strong, keep united, and not be afraid of those threats.
And Prime Minister, what's going on with the Russian army in your view? It seems this has been a collapse over the past week. How do you see this? Is this the Ukrainian talent, the European financing, the American weapons, or just bad tactical moves from Russia? This is an army that's a mess.
Yes, first of all, the motivation that Ukrainians have in defending their own homeland is totally different than Russians going to invade and not understanding why they are there. Of course, our military aid is very important, the Western military aid, so we have to keep sending that and to give out the message also to the people fighting in Russian army that don't do it. I think Ukrainians have a very good program how they can surrender and not participate in this war.
And it's very crude to say, but at this point when Vladimir Putin says, I have 300,000 men I can move and send to Ukraine, is he sending them to die essentially?
Yes, he's treating them as the cannon, what is the word, a fodder, yes. And this has been the case for all the dictators actually, that they are not counting the people because they only want to stay in power. And this is the message to the Russian people as well, why to participate in his war.
And Prime Minister, Russia is already using energy as a weapon, plunging the European Union and Europe in general into an energy crisis. So what needs to be done now?
Yes, apart from the conventional war that is going on, there's also a hybrid war and information war, cyber war. Energy war is part of the hybrid war, so he's using energy as a weapon, and he's been very clear that he's using energy as a weapon. So we have to treat it as such. We have to stay united in this and try to survive the hard winter, because Putin is putting his bets on that we can't really survive the hard winter, but we are much stronger than that.
With a price cap?
Well, we're gonna discuss this, and of course we have been advocating for the price cap for the gas coming from Russia, but we have to understand that when we talk about overall gas or price cap, then we have to understand that the security of supply is also of importance, so that we will have gas, LNG coming from other parts of world.
You know, Norway, we earn a lot of money because of the war. Do you have advice for money for Norway, what to do with all these billions?
Well, that's an interesting problem that you have there, because others don't have it. So, of course, one advice would be that don't charge that much, because all the other friends in Europe are suffering due to those high prices. So we are putting more and more money out of our budgets to get the prices down, to help the people over the hard winter. And of course, there are questions whether it is ethical to earn on the pain of others at this moment.
Should we give something back to Ukraine?
Definitely, we all should give. We just decided, in the government, to give additional support to Ukraine, and as we are a very small country, we can do that. So other countries can do as well.
Minister, one short question from Dutch radio. Do you think it's finally on top of mind of Western European leaders like Mark Rutte that we should talk firm and act decisively when it comes to Russian aggression?
We have been very strong and united in this response, and I think we have to keep it that way. What is clear to everybody is that Putin is not backing away from his threats, and we have to treat it as such. These are threats that we should not give in. Otherwise, if we give in, then he will just take another bite, and every next time it's more awful than it was the previous.
And is this format of today, that we're all here together, all Europe, is that the result of focusing with 44 countries on the same issue, namely peace and security in Europe?
I certainly do hope so. We are in this situation together, and we have the European Union, but we also have the countries that are geographically in Europe, and the more we have the same understanding of the situation, the better.
A final question: when will this meeting be a result, in your opinion?
By this evening, I guess, but the question is whether there's going to be a renewal, whether this is going to be a format that is coming together not only once, but every year, for example.
And that's most important to you, that it will be on a regular basis?
It depends on the outcome. If we feel that there is this results, because every prime minister does not have a schedule, empty of agenda. That's why every additional meeting requires really that there's a good outcome out of it. But let's see how it goes. Okay.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Prime Minister, thank you so much.